Hi guys, and welcome to Brave Dog Training Online. Have you been worried lately because Halloween's approaching and your dog is a little bit fearful or already scared of some decorations? Today you'll get my little tips for survival on Halloween for fearful dogs and dogs that aren't cool with just anything. Alright? I'm Anita, I'm a professional dog trainer. I show you how to build a trusting relationship with your dog to overcome fear and reactivity and have a good time together again. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe and tell me in the comments if this is your first Halloween or if you have already some experience. And now have fun. Alright, so Halloween has one huge advantage to New Year's Eve, and that's it's very limited to the evening of All Hallows Eve, so Halloween. With New Year's Eve it's a little bit different because there are always some nice people who shoot some kind of loud things in November already. So this is a very long period and can happen a lot longer. With Halloween it's just one evening. So there are a few things that can be scary for dogs. First, children groups. A lot of dogs are scared of children anyway, and if they are disguised as little monsters, it becomes even harder for the dog. So if your dog is truly scared of children or disguised children, then it would be a nice opportunity to just take your dog for a walk in a very relaxed area where no houses are and where no children are trying to go trick-or-treating, right? And if that's no option for you, then you could time your walks in a way you don't encounter that many children. And if you want to work on your dog's fear because your dog isn't that scared and you want to take the opportunity to train a little bit and show your dog that there are sometimes funny things out there like children in costumes, then you can do that, but choose a distance where your dog is still comfortable with the children. Alright? Problem number 2 on Halloween are Halloween decorations. Sometimes it's just a little decorative pumpkin on a fence and our dogs don't even realize it's there. That's no problem. But one of my neighbors has put out a scarecrow-like human-ish thing on a chair with a pumpkin head and a beer can in its hand. It looks scary even for adults because that thing is huge and it's just there in the front yard with no fence. And the street you could walk with your dog is just right next to it. There is almost no distance between this thing and the path. So this is something really concerning for the dogs. Especially dogs that are afraid of humans, because that thing really looks a little bit like a human being. And it's not moving, and that's weird. So this is something that can be scary for dogs, or huge paper ghosts, or some kind of big decorations, right? And if you see your dog scared of it, you can either work on it if the fear is not that intense, And if you have enough distance, and if that's not an option, then skip those houses or try to walk different routes or in a different area. And the third problem is constantly ringing doorbell. Because our dogs have most of the time a learning history of doorbell means something exciting is happening because visitors are coming. And if this is something that constantly happens, it can be very stressful for the dog. And there are two things you can do. First, turn off your doorbell. Most of the time there is some way of turning off a doorbell or dampening it a lot so it sounds different. Or you put a sign out saying, please don't knock or please don't ring, baby's sleeping. That works pretty well most of the time because people react better to baby sleeping than to scared dog. So I would say something like that. Of course, it doesn't work if your neighbors know that you don't have a baby actually. But you could have a friend visiting with a baby, so maybe it still works. And I like to put out a sign like that, very, very big and right on the door, so that people who are coming up and before they can ring or before they can knock, they see that sign. And if you want to train with your dog for the doorbell, you could combine doorbell with food. It's a little tricky, so if you haven't experienced anything like that, work on it in a time where it's not necessary. And this might be a little too short before Halloween is actually upon us. So this would be something, if you have already some experience with counter conditioning, then you can use that for the doorbell as well. And the last thing is that people sometimes dress up their dogs, and I would advise very strongly against that. Because very often the dog is in some kind handicapped with the costume because he doesn't see as well, or it's on his ears, or it's just limiting the range of motion in some kind of way. And even if it might look funny, it's almost always uncomfortable for the dog. And for me, that's not worth it. So that's why I wouldn't dress up a dog at all, even if it's a very cool dog, right? And if your dog is very scared and you want to stay with him, that's absolutely wonderful. And maybe celebrating with your dog the original All Hallows Eve, so just an opportunity to celebrate the memory of lost family members, lost friends, and lost pets, is just as wonderful as dressing up and partying, right? Tell me in the comments if you are considering that, a little private All Hallows Eve celebration with your dog, and who you are celebrating. And I wish you a very relaxed and wonderful Halloween. Until next time, bye!